Again, so we are here to flip the switch and ditch self-sabotage. That's the whole reason we're here. So obviously, if you're showing up today, there may be some things in life where you're experiencing sabotage, right? Like, maybe you're one of those people who have those cycles of health issues, the weight gain, and then it comes off, and then it goes back on, and then it comes off, and then it goes back on. Or maybe you tend to see, I shouldn't be doing that. I know I shouldn't be eating this, saying that, doing this, and yet I'm still doing it, and it's still getting me these results. Because knowing is the booby prize, y'all. Just knowing sometimes isn't enough, but sometimes it is enough to get started. It's enough to make a different choice, right? But when we're dealing with self-sabotage, awareness is the key. It is the first thing, right? If we don't know what we're doing or why we're doing it to begin with, or more importantly, how we're doing it, how are we supposed to change anything, right? So when we're talking about self-sabotage, this is a huge topic. It is a lot of different moving pieces, but we're going to get into some of the nitty-gritty and a little bit of those things today, just to hopefully support you to move in a different direction, maybe to start to shift the needle, right? Because sometimes we've been being the way we've been being for so long that we're on autopilot. It's just the way we've been being for so long that we don't even have to consciously think about being that way anymore. So sometimes getting present to and aware of how am I being when I'm not fully present and not fully aware and not fully conscious in the moment, so that I can do differently and therefore have newly. Think about it. Heard the story about a pilot flying a plane, right? Flying a plane, and most pilots these days, most planes are run on autopilot. Most pilots are just having to observe, to witness, and to watch and make sure things are going right. They don't actually have to do a whole lot behind the wheel these days. So this pilot's flying, and they're getting into the airspace of where they're going to be getting to a point of landing not too long, maybe about 20, 30 minutes out. And all of a sudden, this alarm goes off. And it's telling them, land ahead, pull up, pull up, pull up. Object ahead, pull up, pull up. Danger ahead, pull up, pull up. And this alarm is just blaring. Danger ahead, pull up, pull up. But as they look out the window, there's nothing there. Literally nothing. But the alarm continues to go off. Danger ahead, pull up, pull up. Danger ahead, pull up, pull up. Yet nothing is in front of them. They're looking everywhere, and it's a perfectly blue sky day, not a cloud in the sky. They can see for miles. Danger ahead, pull up, pull up. They can't get the alarm to turn off. And the people on the plane are starting to freak out. So they have to just turn off the alarm and go manual, because there's nothing in front of them they can see for miles, and they realize there's a glitch in the system. There's just a glitch in the system. The autopilot has a glitch and sees something that's not actually there. So they've got to flip off autopilot, take the wheel, and go manual. And when it comes to self-sabotage, you got to do the same thing. You got to recognize how many times in your life you're going through moments on autopilot, seeing danger, danger, I need to pull up, when nothing's there. Because we're typically not experiencing life. We're experiencing the life that we choose to focus on and the meaning that we give it. We are the meaning-making machines. I don't know if you've ever heard that before. It's one of my favorite things to think about, but we are the meaning-making machines. Nothing has meaning to it until we give it such. Isn't that fascinating? How powerful is that? But also, with great responsibility comes great power. With great power comes great responsibility, right? Knowing that and doing differently, choosing differently. And I know many people who, once they know that, are like, I just want to go back. It's like, I don't want to take the red pill. Let me go back. Let me go back to not knowing. Because the autopilot is comfortable. Autopilot doesn't require a whole lot of work, doesn't require a whole lot of energy, doesn't really require much responsibility. It's easier. It often sucks. It's often not the life we want to live. It's often yucky. It may even be painful. But because we know it, it's almost easier to stay there. It takes less energy. We know where we're going and we know what to do, so let's just stay here. But do we really want to stay there? Most people don't. But also most people don't want to do the work it takes to get out of there. So when we're talking about getting conscious, getting present, getting aware, hi Claudia, hi love, good to see you. It's paying attention to and starting to recognize what unprocessed emotions, what limiting beliefs, what past stories, and depending on the work you've done, there's so many more directions we can go with that kind of content, but I'm going to keep it big picture today. But there are belief systems, there are emotions, there are stories, there are things that are coloring your reality, that are creating your autopilot. And usually these things were created 0 to 7, and depending on what you believe, before that even. Generationally, possibly even past lives. Again, depending on what you choose to believe. I believe that. Those things are impacting the autopilot that you're already on and have probably been on for decades, no matter how old you are. And the only way we can start to get off autopilot, to take the wheel, is to start to get present and start to pay attention and start to recognize what might those emotions that are just naturally coming up be? What might those belief systems be? What might those stories be that are having me act and react the way that I am in these moments? I mean, consider it. How different would your life look if you believed I'm unlucky versus I'm lucky? Just that. How different would your life occur to you if you were someone who wholeheartedly, in your gut, deeply and seriously believed I'm lucky versus someone who believed they were really unlucky? How different would your experience of life be? Because it is that simple. Again, sometimes it's not that easy to shift, but it is that simple to start to recognize the things coming out of your mouth that you believe in, that you say, that might be impacting how everything's happening. Because we self-sabotage anything that we intrinsically don't believe we're worthy of or good enough for or whatever is in disagreement that bumps up against our own belief systems. You have a part of your brain, your reticular activating system. You've probably heard it before. I've spoken about it before. Your RAS. It's a very, very brilliant piece of equipment in your brain that is choosing what's important and what's not important. It's choosing, yes, let's pay attention. Let's not pay attention. These are the things that are important. These are the things that are not, right? It's like if you were driving your car and you had to pay attention to literally everything that was happening on the road, in the sky, on the sides, in the cars next to you, in your own car, up in the air, everywhere, on top of having to pay attention to chewing and breathing and digesting and blinking and beating your heart. That would be a lot, right? Your reticular activating system is filtering. This isn't important. This is. This isn't important. This is. But it's doing that based on your belief systems, your values, the education you have, the education you don't have, where you were raised, what the people around you believed, the kind of content that you're taking in, what you're watching, what you're listening to, the people who are in your circle, all of those things are impacting the filters through which your reality is being created. It's fascinating, really. Right? Because this filter, this reticular activating system really is the starting key to changing things, to recognizing. I used to hear in my old circles women saying, there's just no good men. Well, how do you think that impacts their receptivity of reality? They are going to live in a reality where they have no good men. I'm in the real estate industry a lot, supporting CE courses and other types of mindset training. And there's a lot of realtors right now that are in a space of uncertainty. You know, the interest rates are high. All the new laws are coming out. It's making it harder to sell a house. People are scared to sell their home. It's such an uncertain and rocky market. And yet I also know realtors who are having the best years of their life during all of this upheaval. So one of the first ways that you can start to recognize where are you sabotaging yourself is pay attention to what's coming out of your mouth. What are some of those things you're saying? What is some of that BS belief systems that you're out there talking and saying that you may not even realize is actually creating a filter for how you're receiving reality? I'm not enough, not worthy, the market's bad, the government sucks, no one respects me, I don't receive respect, I'm not lovable, no one pays attention to me, no one hears me, I'm not valued, no one cares about my opinion. How are all of those things going to impact how you're receiving reality? Those things are your barrier. Those things are stopping you from having the things that you want. Well, I've been trying to lose weight, but it's just really hard. There's so many things in that sentence alone. First of all, trying presupposes failure. Think about any time anybody's ever told you, I'll try to make it. You're like, it ain't coming. Trying presupposes failure already linguistically, right? And then saying that losing weight is hard. It's already trying plus hard. Gonna be really easy to just give up and not do it. So noticing your language, paying attention to and recognizing what are some of my belief systems. Around money, I hear a lot of things around money right now. Making money is hard. Money is the root of all evil. Money doesn't grow on trees, right? Those are belief systems. Those are things that people believe intrinsically. You've got to work really hard for money. Most people, you've got to go through all these failures and you've got to hit the rock bottom before you can hit the top. Those are all belief systems. Those are all things that somebody chose to believe. They got to wherever they got, and now they're telling other people this is just the way it is, right? How many people think that money is dirty? How do you think your attraction of money is going to come along if you believe that money is dirty or bad or the root of all evil? It's probably not going to come along very well. Or, I've worked with a client in the past who believed that sales were slimy. Like, salesmen are just really slimy. I've had a lot of people tell me that. Well, I don't want to be like a salesy guy. Salespeople are gross. Well, if you believe salespeople are gross and you're in sales, how are you going to occur to other people? I can see a few people are on. I'd love for you guys to drop in comments. Let me know what you're recognizing, what you're realizing, or maybe what you're being reminded of if you've heard content of this nature before, something that's maybe clicking in a different way. But this is how we're sabotaging ourselves all the time. And what's interesting is along with all of these things, these thoughts, I'm going to stick with money because it seems to be a thing in culture right now. Because, right, we're in a recession, if you choose to believe that. So then people believe, Making money right now is hard. People just aren't buying. People just aren't this. People just aren't that. Belief systems. And when that thought comes into play, there's an emotion that meets it. And those two things put together are creating this frequency and this energy out in the world as to what you are receiving and not receiving. And I know you might be thinking, so all I have to do is change my language. Well, it's a great place to start. It is a great place to start. But think about that. If you believe that currently money is making hard and people just aren't moving on things, they're just not buying things right now, and that makes you feel scared, it creates fear, and you put those two things together, it's going to create all this energy inside of you with this fear and this thought, and this thought's going to kick off the fear, and the fear is going to kick off the thought, and the thought's going to kick off the fear, and the fear is going to kick off the thought, and it's going to keep you in this loop. And when that's going on internally, it's going to create actions, right? And what actions are you going to take from a place of fear and people just aren't buying and the market's uncertain right now? How is that going to have you showing up in life? What is that going to have you doing or not doing? And notice that. And if you want to, think about a time where you are aligned, where something is going well, where there's a strong belief, a positive belief. Like, I know I'm really good at public speaking. I love public speaking. It's so much fun for me. I enjoy public speaking. And how do I show up in the world when I believe that I'm a good public speaker? What are the actions that I take? What are the words that come out of my mouth? How do I hold myself? And I can hold those two things next to each other and look at some of the unique differences about my actions and inactions. And look in every area of life. Look at your spirituality, religion, whatever you want to call that. Look at your health. Look at your fitness and your diet. How are you eating and how are you moving your body when you're in fear versus when you're in joy or success or excitement? Start simple here. And if you've got belief systems you can put alongside of those, great. But just start with the damn emotion, right? How do you act when you're in fear? What kind of foods are you eating? What kind of sleep are you getting? How much water are you taking in? How are you moving your body or not when you're in fear? Versus when you're excited, joyful, happy, any one of those, right? That's just one area of life. And then look at your relationships. Look at your romantic relationship if you have one. Or if you don't, how are you acting out there in the possibility of a romantic relationship? When you're in fear in general, right? Because if I'm in fear about money, it's going to impact all areas of life. You might be just working so hard towards this health situation that you've got going, whatever it might be, but you're so over here worried about money and you think that the health is like, oh, I'm just not this, I'm just not that, I'm just not this. But in reality, it actually might be your fear up here about money that's impacting how your health is going. They are directly linked, by the way. So you want to look at every area of life, the wheel of life. In fact, if you would like the wheel of life exercise, it's pretty common. You can even Google it. But if you'd like one that we've already got created that has the wheel of life and some like processing questions, drop wheel of life in the comment, whether live or in the replay. And I'll get your email and I'll send it over to you so you can do that for yourself and get some awareness, get some clarity, maybe get some insights right in front of you. Maybe something will make sense there and click of like, oh wow, yeah, this is impacting that. But so let's keep going there, right? If we're worried about money, we're in a place of fear about money, we've been focusing on our health. Again, those were actions and inactions in just health. And then we talked about relationships. How's it impacting your romantic relationship or you finding a romantic relationship? How is it impacting you with your kids if you have kids? How is it impacting you with your employees or your employer or your coworkers, right? Look at the relationships. How is it impacting how you relate to other people? How is it impacting all these different areas of life? How you go out and have fun or not, right? There's so many different areas of life that we can look at. How's it impacting how you spend your time as a whole? Because time is an area of life. We either think we have time or we don't think we have time, right? So we really want to start getting present to and asking ourselves questions. How am I choosing to believe the world? What am I choosing to believe about the world? What do I believe about money? What do I believe about success? What do I believe about love? What do I believe about my health? What have I been told about all of these things that I've chosen to believe that maybe I didn't even realize I chose to believe? Because again, your focus, your RAS, your reticular activating system, plus your emotion is going to give you results. It's going to give you the actions you take or the actions you don't take. And all of those actions are inactions from that thought, from that focus, from those emotions are just proving a reality that you have believed to be true, when in fact, it's not. None of it is. But if you believe it is, it will be. And changing those beliefs starts with getting present to, what do I believe? What do I believe? Y'all, I've been in this field now for about 6 years, and let me tell you, I'm still figuring out. I'm still pulling the layers back. I'm still peeling the onion to uncover, what do I believe? It was only a year ago that I first realized that I used to believe, or that I used to, because I've worked through it. I used to believe that success, I was scared of success. First of all, I realized I was scared of success. I was scared of success specifically, though, because I thought it would cost me my relationship, the love of my life. Imagine how that impacts what I do and don't do. Let me tell you, it caused a whole lot of analysis paralysis, of perfection thinking, right? And I love when the iPhone does that. It got me procrastinating like crazy, because why would I want to go be successful if it's going to cost me the love of my life? Why would I do that? But this was unconscious. This was deep inside that I had no idea was even there. So you got to take the time to do the work, to lean in, to look, to listen, to feel, what do I believe? To catch yourself say something and go, ooh, how's that impacting what I say I want? Because I may say I want to be, do, have these things, but how am I actually showing up? What am I actually saying? What am I actually doing? What emotions do I catch myself in all the time? I had a lot of unprocessed anger at first. And how do you imagine that anger and bitterness and frustration and being stuck in those places is going to impact me creating the things I want to create? I can tell you, it stopped a lot of things and it pushed a lot of people away. But this is how we're doing life. Every day, all day, most minutes of the day, because you may not be speaking to someone, but you're always speaking to someone, aren't you? Because you're always up here. We got that little itty bitty shitty committee just to go. And so it's not always what words am I saying to others about what I believe or don't believe, but what thoughts am I having? What am I thinking about this situation in this moment? Are you pausing long enough to have a clue and recognize, ooh, what was I thinking just then? And how's that impacting things? So I hope you're at a place where you can take a pause, as we say with the Condor approach that I've been training in recently and pulling into our trainings, to pause, pull back, and physical scan, to take the 3 Ps. Mr. Ta and Cole Whitty, who I adore from the Condor approach, taught us this, and we've pulled it into our practice. Pause, pull back, physical scan. When you catch yourself full of emotion, positive or not, negative or not, it doesn't matter. When you're aware, I am overloaded with joy or I'm overloaded with anxiety, pause. Pull back, which might mean literally pull back, or it might be take a breath. And then do a physical scan and notice, first of all, what emotion am I experiencing? Because sometimes we don't know. I used to think that all my trapped anger I had was hurt, but it was actually anger. I had to take time to realize what was underneath there. So what emotion are you actually experiencing? What thoughts are you having? What beliefs are coming up around that? Where else have you noticed this happen? How is it showing up? Who are you being and what are you doing when those are happening? pause, pull back, physical scan. Take a minute, because an emotion can only live in your brain neurochemically for 90 seconds. And if you take a minimum of 90 seconds to pause, pull back, physical scan, you've got a chance to not continue to groove those self-sabotaging emotions and beliefs and to create something new. So it's 2:00. It goes by so fast, y'all. Especially when I can't tell if anybody's commenting because I can't see all the things, and I apologize if any of you were commenting. But if you watch the replay, please let me know. Oh, Lori. Hey, Lori. Focus on what we want, not on what we don't want. Yes, ma'am. It is absolutely one of our favorite things in NLP, right? The thought of what do I want instead, right? How do I focus on what I want instead of what I don't want? That is so key and so huge. Thank you for that, Lori. I appreciate it. So again, I'm gonna sign off, but if you guys would like the Wheel of Life to do a little exercise for yourself, get some awareness and some clarity in areas and how it's impacting other areas, again, you can drop Wheel of Life or even just wheel, and I'll get with you and figure out how to get that to you one way or another.